This conference will now be recorded.
Hello everyone. I'm going to discuss ingestion test framework today. So imagine for a moment that we have lot of data sources, CSV files, Parquet files, ORC, JSON. Along with that, there could be NoSQL databases and some XYZ databases or sources. So from there, we are bringing the data into our data lake, and then the rest of the processing is happening. So in that case, there is a requirement when we have some different data sources and and we have to bring the data into our data lake. At that time, we have to compare those data. So in that case, data could be these formats. Now we have to design some framework that will help to validate it through automatically. So one way to do it, now we have Spark or Python. Through that we can easily connect to the any of the databases. So for example, if we have CSV source and that is placed into some of the AWS or maybe the Google Cloud or maybe the Microsoft Azure platform, and our data lake is in different AWS systems. So we have to bring the data from that uh, cloud system to current data processing cloud systems. So in that case, the developers can easily write some code through that they can bring the data, and now we have to analyze this data or we have to test it that whether those data whatever they have bring is it correct or not. So that's why we will design an ingestion test framework. So that is the more or less the definition of ingestion test framework. Now coming to the Parquet format, if the data is similar to Parquet format in some of the data sources and in our data lake, we need that data and we have to compare those Parquet formatted data. That also can be done. Mostly it is very useful when data migration is happening. So earlier most of the companies using RDBMS systems, they are storing their data into the RDBMS systems. It could be Oracle, DB2 or a SQL server, anything. So from there, they are bringing the data into data lake systems or maybe the cloud or maybe the in-house data warehousing system where the big data processing is happening. In that case, we can connect to SQL Server through Python or Spark. We can read those data and we can read the data from our data lake systems, and then both we can compare, and then we can able to find out whether any mismatches are happening or not. So that is the overall ingestion test framework design concepts. So the as of now we will support this many formats. Now let me share you the uh, how the process is happening. Let me give you some demo here. Yeah, so I'm going to discuss this ingestion framework. So first, this is the input format, input table. So input table, nothing but when I am going to connect the data from CSV or Parquet or ORC or JSON or SQL Server. So first I have to create input kind of format or some tabular format that is similar to functional framework itself. So input would be some kind of table structures from other sources that we are going to bring. So there could be suppose CSV. So we are going to bring the CSV data from another sources, and when we will call this CSV file, we will connect through some of the Python or maybe this through Spark. We can able to connect it easily. We can connect it through the connector program, and then we will bring the data into our input format. So similar to CSV, we might bring the Parquet, we can bring the ORC, and we can bring the JSON, and also we can bring the SQL or Oracle RDBMS systems as well. So both the data we can easily bring and we can create some input formatted table. Now there could be some target table that we have, that is the ultimate source for us. It could be file or table format. We can get that data using some SQL query or maybe some of the Spark read API call. And then we already have the functional framework. So we will trigger the functional framework, and then it will automatically create or execute the test cases. So some test cases we already know: count checks, left outer, right outer join, inner joins, duplicates checks in rows and grains, then all the columns level validations, data type checks, as well as all the columns is validated or not. So that is the overall ingestion framework. Thank you for watching the video.